On the afternoon of June 18, 2025, a Boston courtroom fell silent. After 22 hours of intense deliberation over 4 days, the jury delivered a surprising and emotional verdict in the case of Karen Read, a case that has captured national attention for more than 2 years. Read, 45, was acquitted of second-degree murder, manslaughter while operating under the influence, and leaving the scene of an incident resulting in death. She was, however, found guilty of 1 count of driving under the influence of alcohol. For someone facing the possibility of spending decades behind bars, the verdict was a massive relief. The moment it was read aloud, Read began crying and embraced her attorneys. Outside, her supporters cheered, many visibly emotional. It wasn't a full legal clearance, but it was a clear rejection of the prosecution's most serious allegations. To understand why this case sparked such intense debate, we need to revisit the events of January 2022. John O'Keefe, a 46-year-old Boston police officer and Karen Read's boyfriend at the time, was discovered unconscious and unresponsive in the snow outside a colleague's home in Canton, Massachusetts. He was taken to the hospital, where he later passed away. Prosecutors claimed that Read had dropped O'Keefe off at a party, then reversed her SUV and accidentally hit him, leaving him outside in freezing temperatures. The case was built around vehicle damage, phone data, and a text message where Read reportedly said, "I hit him." They argued this was a tragic case of impaired driving, followed by panic and confusion. But Read's defense attorneys presented a very different version of events, one that raised eyebrows across the country. They claimed that O'Keefe had never been struck by a vehicle. Instead, they argued that he was injured inside the home, possibly involving a pet or a confrontation, and then placed outside afterward. Even more controversially, they allege that some investigators involved in the case may have protected individuals connected to law enforcement who were present at the party. Lead investigator Michael Proctor came under heavy scrutiny after text messages surfaced where he mocked and ridiculed Read. He was eventually dismissed from the case for unprofessional conduct. That revelation added fuel to the defense's argument that the investigation had been mishandled from the beginning. Crash experts hired by the defense said that the physical evidence didn't match a vehicle impact. There were no tire marks in the snow, and a nearby snowplow operator testified that he never saw a body in the area. Inside the jury room, things were anything but calm. At one point, jurors sent a note suggesting they had reached a decision, only to later clarify that they hadn't agreed on all charges. That moment created a wave of tension both inside the courthouse and among the public. Finally, after 4 full days, the verdict came in, not guilty on all major charges. Only the DUI charge remained, a misdemeanor that results in 1 year of probation, no prison time. The jury's message was clear. They were not convinced by the prosecution's theory. Whether they believed the defense's full version or just had doubts about the evidence, they decided the state had not proven its case beyond a reasonable doubt. So what now for Karen Read? She will serve 1 year of probation for the DUI conviction. She faces no jail time, and her name has been cleared of the most serious legal accusations. But the road ahead is still uncertain. A civil wrongful death lawsuit has been filed by O'Keefe's family. In civil court, the standards for liability are lower, and Read could still face financial penalties depending on the outcome. Even outside the courtroom, the personal toll has been immense. Read lost her job, faced public judgment, and lived under extreme media scrutiny for years. This wasn't just another courtroom battle. It became a national discussion about trust in the justice system. A lead investigator was dismissed over misconduct, a legal theory that evolved into a potential protection issue, and a jury that sided against the official version of events. Social media exploded. Hashtags like Free Karen Read and Justice for John trended across platforms. Protests and rallies unfolded outside the courthouse. This was no longer just about one case. It became a symbol of how justice is perceived and pursued. The criminal trial may be over, but the fallout is just beginning. Read's legal team is reportedly considering defamation or civil rights claims, depending on how the investigation was conducted and whether her rights were violated. Meanwhile, the O'Keefe family continues their pursuit of accountability. They maintain that the verdict has left them without closure. Their civil case seeks not only compensation, but answers. Who was responsible for what happened that night? And will the truth ever be fully known? On June 18th, Karen Read walked out of court a free woman, but she walks into a world that still has questions and wounds that may never fully heal. This case has already reshaped public conversations about law enforcement, trial fairness, and investigative integrity. It's a story of heartbreak, doubt, and the power of public scrutiny. What's your take? Did the jury get it right? Or did the justice system fail someone? Let us know in the comments below. Subscribe and click the bell so you don't miss updates on the civil lawsuit, legal reactions, and the lasting legacy of this case.